Hey guys, Steven Martinez with The American Dream. I just want to say a big thanks to all our supporters and fans. It's because of you guys that we're able to keep growing. Having said that, please don't forget to follow and subscribe. It means a lot to us. That's what helps us keep growing. And also, I hope you guys enjoy the next episode. Hey guys, welcome back to The American Dream Podcast. Here with another special guest, my good friend Aron Delong, area marketing manager for Lamanco, and then Delong, president of Delong Building Solutions.
Yes, sir.
Good to have you, bro.
Hey, thanks for having me out, man. I'm real appreciative.
Yeah, I know we're going to get into some pretty cool stuff, so I'm excited. So first off, for anyone who doesn't know Aron, tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got into the industry and all that.
Yeah, so goes way back. Moved to Houston about 20 years ago.
From where?
From Southern California.
Oh, that's a switch, dude.
It is. I got a football scholarship, so came and played football at Texas Southern University. My whole life I was going to be a football coach. And an English teacher, and so started when I got done playing, started coaching at Texas Southern. Then I met my wife and had to go get a real job, so went to work at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, climbed the ranks there, did pretty good through that system, but wanted to do something other than rent cars for the rest of my career. So had a buddy of mine who'd had success there, went over to the distribution side, got me introduced with some folks over at that time it was West End Lumber. That was part of the Beacon family, which is now QXO. So started there, ran the counter there, sold for them for a little bit, and then ran a couple of branches. Got the opportunity to be a regional manager with Allied Building Products. Ran Texas for them for about 2.5 years until Beacon bought them. So that left me there for about 6 months until they decided they didn't need a second regional manager. So went from there to SRS, sold for them for a little bit, but always had the desire to be back in leadership. So I went over to Gulf Eagle Supply as their regional sales leader for Texas and Oklahoma, and did that for about 3 years. Had some great success there where we grew the business, got some good buy-in from the sales team there, and then ultimately wanted to make a change, and the manufacturing side is where I thought I wanted to be. So was interviewing with a large shingle manufacturer at the time for a regional spot they had, and Lamanco kind of came in from a buddy of mine who's our rep up in Colorado in the whole Front Range. And he was like, hey man, if you want to make a change, you need to talk to the folks at Lamanco. I was like, dude, I don't know if I want to sell vents. But I went up, met our leadership, met our owners, and was like, I still don't know if I want to sell vents, but I want to be on y'all's team. And fast forward 3 years now, been with Lamanco, having more fun than I've had in a long time. Really enjoy the folks that I work with and work for, and just learned more about ventilation in the last 3 years than I ever thought I didn't know.
Nice.
And now have a lot of fun working with contractors and distributors on a daily basis, helping them solve problems and figure out how do you present the right solution for your homeowner.
Yeah.
As we're tackling each individual project.
I love that. I have my brain now. It's like, dude, I want to ask you one question, but I'll ask you later. But it's relative to sales and dealing with contractors.
Yeah.
Because they're not the easiest people to deal with when
Right.
it comes to sales. Because we're very like don't tell me shit, pretty much.
Yeah.
But you said Enterprise, so I thought that was interesting. So your first position in sales was at Enterprise.
Rent-A-Car.
How old were you? Was it during college or after college?
It was after college, so I was probably 26, 27 at the time.
Okay, and you met your wife during college, or?
Yeah, actually, right as I was wrapping up. So when I played football, I was a bouncer in the spring, just so I had some walking around money.
Nice.
And got a job my first night working at what used to be Whiskey Creek down in Midtown.
Okay.
And she walked in my first night there, got her number, and like 90 days after that, we were engaged. And we'll be married for 15 years next month.
Awesome, man. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
So then you went to Enterprise, and then how long were you there for at Enterprise?
About 3 years.
Okay, and then how was that experience? I'm always intrigued when you were there. How was it?
Man, it's any success that I've had in my career, I attribute at least part of it to Enterprise and the folks I worked with there. They're very intense in their sales training and their management training, and it's not just understanding a P&L and being able to balance that, but it's creating a team atmosphere and a lot of emphasis on getting employee engagement. So I think that my time at Enterprise really helped me understand it's a lot more than just the numbers.
Got it. So you saw more of a corporate organization, like structure. and then from there you went to the
West End Lumber Beacon.
And then how was there when you were there?
It was great because it was part of the Beacon family, but West End, a bunch of the folks that were there were still part of it when it was a family-owned business. So it was a very good family atmosphere. You know, worked for a guy, Bob Ashley and Ken Greer are the ones who kind of hired me into the business. And they were the originals with the West End Lumber family when it was owned by Bob and BB Burns. And Ken was one of the guys, I still talk to him today, one of the guys who, when he would come as the regional vice president, would come to the yard, and one of the first questions he'd ask me is, how are we treating you? And I was like, man, it's kind of cool to hear from an RVP who, you know, normal first questions you would get is, what have you sold today? You know, what customers have you met or earned their business or anything like that? And his first question was kind of, how are you doing and how are we treating you? And I thought that was really cool.
And then from there, that's when you went to
Then I went to Allied.
Okay, and then being there, I guess for me, my question is too, like, as you're in these companies, all in sales, like, how is your sales transforming, maturing, improving too?
Yeah, I had an opportunity to learn from some of the, I call them old heads, right? From some of the old heads in the business, and it really helped me establish that you've got two routes you can go as a salesperson, right?
Yeah.
The new salesperson has to be the Johnny on the spot guy. So you're the hustler, you're the, hey, I forgot 2 boxes of nails on this order, no problem, I'm on the way. So you got the Johnny on the spot guy. And then you get the consultative salesperson, which was the old heads, the guys who are the expert in their field, who've taken the time to learn about what they're selling and help their customers instead of just being the guy that's got a great price and, you know, I always help you pick up the pieces you drop. You help and train your contractors so that they don't have those forgotten pieces. And then you help steer them in the direction of the thing that helps them with their go-to-market. It helps them with when they're bidding jobs. And you provide value from a different standpoint that helps drive the business forward.
I like that.
That was, as soon as I saw those guys, I was like, that's the guy I want to be. And so I've always geared myself, whenever I've taken a different sales position or even as a sales leader, is emphasizing on, hey, you've got 2 roles. The hustle never stops. You always got to be there for your customer.
Of course.
But if you invest in yourself and you invest in what you're learning, now you can be that guy that helps your customer's business. And that relationship grows deeper and it becomes a customer that you have for life rather than, you know, you're controlled by the ebbs and flows of the market and the price sheet.
I agree. It's so cool that you say that too, because I think anyone coming into sales, if they want to improve, one of the key things you can do is just really like study and educate yourself on the product and service. And then once you become an expert on that, like you just said, you're giving value towards the client.
Yeah.
And then the client becomes a friend. Like for me, most of my partners, I consider friends, man. Like,
right.
You know? So, okay, so having said that, now that you're dealing with contractors, how is that? Whenever you're in the field talking to them and they're kind of like, man, like.
So it's really unique for me, right? Because ventilation is about 5% of the residential roofing market.
Yeah, it's very small.
So when I got into this and decided, you know, ultimately when I got to Lomanco, they have the system where you come in as a company guy and then they'll cut you loose as an independent, but you stay within Lomanco, right? So when I got into it, I looked at a guy named Ian Wilson, and any roofer in Houston, probably South Texas, knows who Ian Wilson is. Ian reps probably 40 lines. I have no idea. He has so many lines. Wow. But he's the expert in every one of his lines. So when contractors want to learn something, they go to Ian. And so I was like, I'm going to be the Ian of ventilation. And so I've spent a lot of time doing that, where I think a lot of the folks in my space, they drive their relationship through distribution and then depend on distribution to push their product out. Coming from distribution, I understand that distributors very much are going to go to the contractor, and if you tell me you want XYZ, I'm going to go get you XYZ, right? Where if I can build up a relationship with the contractors and bring some value through training, climbing in attics with you, helping you talk to your homeowners to get them the solution they need, or help them understand the solution you're presenting, now I believe that that relationship can go, instead of just being this way, Now it's more of a triangle to where I've got the relationship with distribution, but I got the relationship with the contractor, and now it's a lot more harmonious to get it so that my product can get pushed out, and it's something I believe in. So now the contractor hopefully is more successful when they sit at that kitchen table with their homeowner, and they end up winning the bid and get an opportunity to really show what they can do.
I like that a lot. Kind of thinking back to, like, for example, when I'm in sales, or when anyone's in sales and they're doing business, sometimes we see kind of like a blind side in things, and we say, okay, like, for example, the manufacturer always wants to work with the distributor, of course, the supplier, but the main foundation of everything is always going to be the contractor, always going to be the client. So the fact that you're like, okay, I'm going to kind of, instead of everyone's looking left, I'm going to look right, I'm going to actually talk to you and educate the foundation of the industry, the contract. I think that's smart. So how do you deal with people where they're like, man, like vents, like it seems like kind of,
Yeah.
What do you tell them then?
Man, it's the biggest objection I get.
I bet.
Especially from distribution. The belief is that contractors don't care, right? I think contractors care. And the contractor is going to care as much as they can make their homeowner care. So whatever you're providing for your homeowner, if you can make them understand that what you're doing is going to be the best option for them, the homeowner cares a lot. In terms of ventilation, like I said, it's 5% of the residential roofing market. But it has the greatest impact on your homeowner when you talk about life of the shingles, their AC bill, life of their windows, life of their insulation, all these factors, plus creating a healthy environment for them to live in because of the moisture and heat that gets trapped in the home. If we're not doing it the right way, that stays trapped and it produces a lot of problems. So being able to educate the contractor to be able to go sit and talk with that homeowner and explain, hey, this is why we have to do what we do. I think it's a unique value proposition that a contractor can offer to a homeowner. Instead of, the one I always point to in my seminars is, you see all these ads on social media, right? We all have gone to social media for advertising. And every time I see it from a contractor, a lot of times it's, hey, I'm Aron's Roofing and I've been in business for 12,000 years, right? And that's great. There's stability in that. And I'm a preferred contractor with this shingle guy. And let me tell you about how great their shingle is, right? And the challenge I pose to people is, as soon as you talk about any product, mine or somebody else's, and how great that product is, the homeowner's sticky to the product. Now you're a price, because they can get that product from someone else. But if you can go and explain to them, hey, this is how we lay a shingle down, this is how we secure your valleys, oh, and by the way, this is how we handle your ventilation, and here's how it's going to help your home and your electric bill. Whether you use my product or somebody else's, the science is the science, right? We've got other things that show why our product's going to outperform, but now you've become a little bit different. And price becomes a little bit less important, right? We still have to be budget conscious because every homeowner has a budget. But if you can go in and talk about what you do that makes you different instead of what you use, you're different from everybody else. And
I like that. If you tell them what you do that makes you different rather than what you use.
Right.
That's a really good point. I think that's a good thing that people should apply to in campaigns. I mean, you always see those ads with like contracts. Oh, I've been 20 years in business.
Yeah.
So with sales being like kind of the main focus right now in your career, as you went from enterprise to these manufacturers to Lamalco now, what keeps that drive and kind of energy up to be consistent? Because I mean, sales is a social battery like anything, right?
Right.
How do you keep that drive going? What keeps you hungry?
It's a couple-fold. I'm number one. I might be the most competitive person I know.
Where do you think that came from?
My sports background.
As a kid?
It was growing up. I've been playing sports since I was probably in kindergarten.
Okay.
And what I learned about myself at a very young age is the old cliche: I hate to lose more than I like to win. I don't want to miss an opportunity to sell one piece of ridge vent to anybody. And in order to do that, I have to have a product I believe in.
Of course.
And so I have that. But I think the thing that really drives me is the opportunity to help. And I learned that early in my career, is that if you go out and sell because you're trying to drive numbers and you're trying to make money, it's too selfish, right? It's not, that's going to fade away. because at some point you're going to hit whatever that marker is, right? I used to have goals where I want to have this position by this age, and I want to make this amount of money in a year by this age, and like that's cool until you start checking the boxes. And then it's like, what next, right? The trap that people fall into is they hit that and then they go, and then they kind of take their foot off the gas. But having the drive to help and to serve, I think, is a lot deeper purpose. And that really drives me. I know it sounds corny, but man, the ability to get out there, and especially that young rep, and I've had a couple of them come up to me that have gone through my seminar, and they've come and found me at a crawfish boil is one I can think of specifically. And he's like, man, I left your seminar and I did what you said, and the homeowner happened to be an engineer. And I'm the only person who got into the attic space and told him why I was doing it, checked his intake, then did the math and computed, hey, this is what you have for intake, so here's what we got for exhaust. He closed the job. Wow. And I was like, man, that's the stuff I like to hear, is that when my partners can go out and win jobs and grow their business, I feel like I'm serving a greater purpose than just chasing dollars. And record years are record years, and we've had a whole bunch of them, and that's fun and cool until January 1st when the numbers go back to zero.
Yeah, that's true.
So you got to have a bigger purpose.
So when you say serve, I love that term, and it's always interesting to see where that kind of term comes from for people, right? Did that for you serve, was it more of something that was instilled from your parents, or was there a moment in your life where you were kind of downhill and then someone picked you up and you feel like you want to pay it forward, or what happened there? Because I think serving is important in all aspects, business, life, and all that. Yeah,
it's first and foremost, pointed to my faith, right? The ultimate example of being a servant was Jesus Christ. He's God incarnate as man and came on earth to serve. So if that's the model that I have, I can't compartmentalize my faith with my work life and my sports life. And I heard a pastor explain it great. We like to take our faith and we treat it like a waffle. And being an eaterologist like I am, I like to put that syrup in every box on the waffle, right? He said, no, your faith needs to be more like spaghetti, where it's all intertwined with every aspect of your life. So that's number one. But my parents were a great example of it. They were servants in the community. They were servants at church. My mother especially was huge at making sure that she was sacrificing herself to make sure that she provided everything we needed for us as kids. And my dad did the same thing. He was up long before we got up, and he came home long after we'd been home. But he worked his tail off to make sure that he could provide for us, right? And he didn't have to tell us no when we had opportunities. So seeing that was huge for me, and it really set the stage for me as a husband, as a father, and it gave me the opportunity to go out and understand what it means really to be a man.
You've always had a strong connection from a kid to now with God.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think for me it was the same, and then I think when my parents got divorced, I stopped going to church, so I became almost lukewarm per se.
Right.
And then kind of life took its course, but then I got redirected back to the path. But so it's interesting to ask that question, right? So having said that, with serving and purpose and family and your wife, how important has your wife been through the trajectory of your career as well?
Oh, she stood by me through all the changes. As you heard when I was doing my summary, it was about every 3 years I was changing jobs. And the hard part about changing jobs is that no matter what you do, when you take on that new role, it's about 18 months of grind to get it to where it should be. And then the grind doesn't let up. You just get more out of it, right? So she's had to ride with me through all of that stuff and really support me, and she's been great about it. And given that I've given her lots of opportunities to not be. But even going under this venture, when I was making the change, like I had just made the change, and I had one of those once in a lifetime opportunities come across my table where it was like, hey, we want you, there's a massive book of business. And she looked at me and she was like, if you change, we're gonna fight. Yes, ma'am. And then we're gonna stick to the path. I didn't really want to make the change. I really enjoy what I'm doing and where I'm at. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity I've been afforded. So
that's awesome.
But no, she's been there. My travel is crazy. When I was with Gulf Eagle, I was on the road about 3 weeks out of the month.
Dang.
That's tapered back. Now it's about every other week I travel.
Okay.
But it's, she's like, hey, you go do what you got to do, and we'll take care of home. And when you get home, just be ready to jump in.
And then do you feel like that balance too, as being a father, whenever you're there, because you're also, obviously you're in there, but then you're also a business owner because you have your own company as well, which we'll talk about. But how do you disconnect that too, like that entrepreneur like mindset, and then it's time to be a dad when you get home?
Man, you got to be very intentional. And I was horrible at it at first. I am a very selfish person, so I'm trying to overcome that. I'm working on that. But it's like I'd come home from a week of travel, and it's breakfasts, lunches, dinners, the whole week. Mm-hmm. And so by the time I get home, I'm like, man, I'm tired. I just want you guys to respect that I'm tired, and don't ask me to do a whole bunch. And I think she pulled me aside and was like, hey, I can't tell you how to have a relationship with your kids, but you're going to have to be intentional about it. And so it really kind of snapped me back into focus. Plus I have a spiritual mentor who I'm going through a discipleship journey with right now too, who's kind of pulled me back on some of that too. And it's like, okay, I'm going to be tired, but I can find a way to work that in with still not missing kids' sports when I'm here, mm-hmm. Making sure that I'm supporting them and just trying to be present when I'm around.
I like that. And then when you opened up DeLong Building Solutions, tell me about that as well. When did you start that? That
was January 1st of 2025.
Okay.
And just another opportunity where I didn't know what I didn't know. Have a good friend of mine who owns a rep group as well. Mm-hmm. A lot of people know Chris Arriaga. Mm-hmm. He pointed me into the direction of a business manager who, man, that guy took everything off my plate and was like, you're going to need this and you're going to need that. And I was like, there's a lot of money going out right now to try and get this thing going. But he was just absolutely essential in making sure that I didn't have any balls that get dropped out of the air, and keep me on track with taxes, keep me with my LLC, setting up my structure. Like, man, it's really, they say your network is what you're worth.
Yeah, very true.
Man, if I didn't have those guys in my life, it would have been very challenging.
And explain to people too, because you always hear the story of like the top producer that's like, oh, I'm making all this money, I'm going to go start my own thing.
Right.
And then being an owner, business owner, is completely different from the sales side of things.
Yeah.
Obviously, now that you're essentially in both, right? Like you're a business owner, and then also with Lamont, you're working on the sales side. What's the big kind of difference there that you saw whenever you jumped into the entrepreneur aspect of it? I think,
so I learned this in my first regional job. Uh-huh. I've always been okay at sales, right? Mm-hmm. I've had success there. But being a great salesperson and managing a P&L are two totally foreign ideas.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we see a lot of our roofing friends struggle, is they're great salespeople, but they don't understand the cost aspect of it. So if I had not had that exposure in my career where I had P&L responsibility, I think it would have been very difficult, because I would have been like, slap the credit card for everything and let's just keep going, and sales cures all. And that's true to a point, but if you're not managing the back door, then you've got money coming in with an open back door and everything's flying out the backside.
Yep.
So if I didn't have that exposure, I think year one could have been a real challenge, especially with what we saw in the industry the last 5-6 months of the year, where it really dried up in South Texas.
Yeah, I knew a lot of people that shut down in Houston, a lot of companies, unfortunately. Having said that, you spoke about mentorship as well, and I always like to touch base on that. How important is mentorship? If you have mentors, and then like when you were younger, if you had mentors, tell me about that.
Yeah, I think if you don't have a mentor, get one. And I think you have to have multiple from different aspects of your life, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But having guys who have done exactly what I've done before that can share with me, hey, watch out for these speed bumps, it helps so much. And then having that spiritual side of it where I can talk through stuff, and I got someone who's going to point to the scripture to really keep me on track, it made all the difference. So I survived in football. I'm small and I'm not very talented, but I watched a ton of film, right?
What position were you, by the way?
So I played center and guard.
Okay.
So I took that same thing when I was going to be a coach. I was like, okay, well, I like what this coach does. I like what this coach does. And so I'm going to kind of grab the best from everywhere. So I've done that in business too, where it's like, I'm a big book guy. So I've read a ton of books, and I'm like, okay, I like this one, and I like something from here, and so I've kind of grabbed from everybody. And then also the folks that I talk to, you know, if I see something I like, I'm going to pull that in, and I'm going to apply it to my business to kind of create the best plan and the best opportunity for me, and then steer it in that direction.
What books do you like? If you were to name like 3 books.
Grant Cardone's 10X rule, I think, is a game changer. There's a guy named Keenan. It's called Gap Selling.
Gap Selling.
Anyone who's ever going to be in sales needs to listen or read Gap Selling.
Why?
That book is a game changer.
Give us a small little teaser there.
It's everything you know about sales that you don't think about. And his biggest highlight in the entire book is if there's no problem, there's no sale. So you go in and talk to a customer, and yeah, they're going through a bidding process, but if you can't identify the sale and not only the problem, but how it impacts them and makes them feel, you're not going to sell anything. So Gap Selling is an absolute essential. And then it's not really a sales book, but Extreme Ownership by Jocko.
Okay.
That's just every man should read that.
Nice.
And then the one I do point back, I know you said 3, but the one I point back to every couple of years is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
I've read that one.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's an essential for anyone in sales.
I agree. So you talk about whenever you find the problem, that's when the sell comes in. Tying that in with your experience in the industry, and you know, obviously the relationships that you have with contractors, what do you think, for example, hypothetically speaking, if you were to start your own roofing company here in Houston, how would you tackle that market? How would you find the problem and give it the solution, knowing that Houston's competitive?
Yeah. The biggest thing we hear about, right, is that roofer's doing it at this price per square, right?
Yeah.
And everybody talks about that.
Yeah.
And that's the shingle off, shingle on guy. So if I was going to take a sales team and teach them, hey, this is what we're going to do that's different, is the first thing is to teach them how to ask questions. So I used to do this with my sales reps when I was in distribution is, hey, on the inside of your notebook, because I wanted everyone to have a notebook. And I didn't want spiral, I wanted like a composition book. I want you to write your question bank. Like, what kind of questions do you go to that can help drive the conversation to uncover the need? And I'm not going to give you the questions, but I can help you with some, but I want you to evolve this into your own style. I don't need 10 Arons out there calling on contractors. And so if I was doing that with a roofing company, I would do the same thing is, hey, let's start asking questions about our homeowners and find out what they're going through right now, right? A lot of Houston is insurance replacement driven. So, okay, we need to find out what kind of budget are we working for? When was the last time you had a roof? How's everything going in your home right now? You know, speaking about the ventilation side, what's your electric bill been like? You can get into the allergy side of things with your kids if you really wanted to, and ask them about that because there may be moisture trapped in the attic. We got to get that going. And then just set it up so you can learn your customer and then provide them with information circled around whatever their main concerns are. And I think that's the biggest thing I would have to do is figure out, number one, what are the most common concerns that roofers hear? And then how do we ask questions to uncover which one is really that trigger button for the homeowner? And then be able to provide them a solution that makes sense.
I like that. What's your opinion on door-to-door? You think door-to-door is dying down, or you think it's still relatively good here in Houston?
It's from the guys that do it, I hear it's the only way.
Really?
I know there's a lot of people that do marketing blasts and they have telemarketing and all that. And there's some guys who love it and there's some guys who say it's all right. But I think door-to-door is essential. That is an art. That is something that I've thought about before when I've considered, hey, maybe I should try being a contractor and working for somebody. It's like the door-to-door intimidates me. Because you have to be so good to be able to create that relationship in 20, 30 seconds before you get a door slammed in your face. Like that is an art. I have a lot of respect for the guys who bang doors.
That's very true. I did it for the first time in Minnesota, maybe like 5 years ago. They got hit with a really bad hailstorm. Yeah. And I was trying to I was hustling. This is before the American Dream, and I needed capital to fund it. And my boy, they got hit. I was like, hey man, I'll close, if I close 10 deals, can you front like 10, 15,000, something like that? I was like, of course. Obviously, you got a good deal out of it. I was there for a week, but I had some crazy stories, man. You hear some crazy stuff when you do door to door.
Oh, I've heard of one. He's a good friend of mine. He said he was working a storm up in DFW back when they used to get hit every year. And he knocked on a door, and the homeowner answered and said, "Oh, I hate you roofers." And he said, "I hate them too. Let's have a conversation." Man, that's pretty quick on your feet.
Yeah. But I love that. Did you ever have a bad experience in sales? Or anything like that where you had like, man, this was going not my way, and then you just shifted it?
Man, I'll never forget. So when I was at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, it was probably the they had this thing. So if you sold a certain amount of damage waiver, right, in a month, you got a special tie. Well, as soon as you show me the tie, I still got it. As soon as you show me the tie, I was like, I'm gonna have that tie.
Yeah.
And I remember, so I did the math, and I was like, okay, if I'm gonna write 7 tickets a day, I need to get 2 of the 3 protection products on 3 of the tickets. So I started that, and it was a Tuesday, and I went 0 for 10. Dang. And I walked in, took the calculator that I'd take out with my contract every time, and I threw it against the wall and blew it up. And everyone in the branch was like, "What's wrong with this guy?" The area manager who hired me, I ended up getting him into the roofing business. He was like, "That's my guy. He cares." And then I went on a run after that, and I ended up getting it that month. I remember that one. And then probably one of my favorite stories, he's a good friend of mine, runs a roofing company out in Katy. First time I met with him, I was brand new to sales in the roofing business, but I thought it was easy. It's roofing. Walked into his office, said, "Hey, I'm Aron Delong. I'm with West End. I'm here to sell you shingles." And he said, "Man, I will never buy from you." I was like, "No kidding." And so we had a conversation around that, and he told me all the reasons why he loved his current rep. I was like, okay. Kept going back. We became really good friends, did a lot of business together over the years. I still meet with him now. He's a big Lamanco supporter, like just totally good dude. But it was one of those, and I share it with young people that I've worked with, is like that first person that tells you no way, keep going back. You don't lose until you stop.
Yeah. That's how, when I first met Tommy Mello, my first boss, he said, like, this is a potential client, sell him, like close him. And
right.
When I first met him, Tommy, like the first thing he said, dude, is like, "Don't close me, bro."
Yeah.
I was like, "Noted, I'm not closing you." And then we just built a friendship, and it's been good ever since. But it's funny how like those first stories, it's always like, because I think people don't like to be sold, but we like to buy, right? So it's like building that relationship first, of course.
It's a consumer society, right? I mean, everybody likes to buy stuff.
Exactly.
That's how we flex our muscle now.
And then with building solutions, tell me a little bit about that. What are you guys focusing on? What are you guys doing with building solutions?
Yeah, so it's that I picked the name because it to me, working for Lamanco, and this is something they really emphasize, is we're not just selling a product. We're training, we're educating, we're working with contractors, and really helping them design the right solution for their homeowner, and then making sure they're educated so it's something that they can repeat and do over. So to me, it was important to emphasize the fact that it's not just I have a vent for you, but I got solutions. And hopefully the solutions that I provide you, given my background, I know about the roofing side too, is something that you can go sit in front of your homeowners and like I said, close more deals. But closing deals is part of it, but really walk away with a completely satisfied homeowner that's not just happy with you, but gonna go tell their friends about the solution you had, and hopefully walk down the street and say, "Hey, every one of y'all's houses is ventilated wrong. You should call my guy, he can fix it." So it's, hey, I got my 10-year-old son, now he can walk down the street to school and be like, "Dad, that one's wrong, and that one's wrong, and that one's wrong." I'm like, well, at least somebody's listening to me.
I like that. So what's your plan with business, life, everything, like the next 5 to 10 years? Where do you see everything going?
Yeah, it's keep doing what I'm doing. What I really like to do is, last year I did 60 trainings, right?
Dang.
And so I'd like to take that and step it up. If I can get in that 60 to 70 range every year, I think I'm not only re-educating the guys that want to sit through it a couple of times, but I'm grabbing those new contractors as they come into the market and helping them so that they can get out and get their feet underneath them, so they're not the hey, we're going to be the cheap guys in the market and this is what we have to do to make a splash. It's, we can come in and we can educate people and we can do it the right way and run a profitable business that's going to be here for a long time. I think there's a real rash of people getting into the business, and I call it living ahead of the AR. They sell just enough so they can keep paying their bills until it slows down, and then the bills catch up and the cash flow is gone, and it's, they're in trouble, and that's where we see companies start to close. So if we can help them, and again, it's a small part, but if I can help them on that to where they can drive a little bit more profitability and sustainability for their business, then hopefully I'm at least doing my part, right? I think when I look at the landscape of reps in general, there's a lot of good manufacturer reps out there. And they do a great job of knowing their product and telling you the benefits and features of their product. But how many times have you sat through, you've been in roofing for a while, how many times have you sat through a training where it wasn't just necessarily focused on the product, but it was focused on the process of, hey, whether you do my product or somebody else's, here's the science as to why you do it, to give you that deeper understanding rather than just a whole bucket of Kool-Aid to drink and buy into what they're selling. And
Absolutely.
that's, I've made that a point of emphasis for myself is when I work with contractors, if I don't have the product for what you need, I can point you in the right direction. And so it's, to me, and I tell this to people all the time, it's like, it's not about getting you to buy Lamanco products all the time. Hopefully we create a relationship and we do business for a long time.
Of course.
But you need to get this specific challenge handled. So I don't have that product. I've had it happen with a buddy of mine, Larry Townley. He had architect was a complete jerk. It was a hip roof with about 3 foot of ridge at the very top.
Okay.
And it was like 3,000 square foot attic space. I'm like, man, I don't have an vent for that.
Yeah.
But I pointed him to one of the solar manufacturers who had a big 65 or 70 watt solar vent. I was like, this one advertises that it can do enough. Call them and verify, but this is probably going to be your only solution here, so that we can follow the principles of what we need to do.
Of course.
So we don't short circuit or get ourselves in trouble.
I like that your motto is if you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
That's always been a big thing. I even told my fiance that too a lot of times, because I'm very OCD, I'm a perfectionist.
Right.
So if I'll do it, I'm like, that's how I was raised. If you're gonna do it right. If not, don't do it at all.
Yep.
And I think that's the big principle too with contractors too in the space is that, aside from the pricing strategy being up and down, but then with that comes education and people just cutting corners and not really caring, and then the homeowner not being educated, just wanting to save an extra buck.
Right.
Ends up kind of the one getting screwed, really, and then they call back, and then the guy's not there, he's out of town or whatnot. So, I do agree on that. And then on the personal side too, what's your goals with serving, with family? What do you want to get into?
Yeah, so I have a lot of fun right now, and I'm grasping it for as long as I can. I coach my son's football team.
Nice. How are they doing?
Next year's gonna be a good year.
There you go.
We had 2 rough years, a bunch of new kids, but man, the kids learned and grew. And so that was the biggest thing, and we went into the season saying that is we want to have the kids come back and sign up again. So we did that. I think the parents bought into what we were teaching. We just got to get the experience. But I'm getting to hang out with my kid, so I like that. Watching my girls do their sports. Both of them are in volleyball. One of them's cheer captain at her junior high, so they're doing well there. I want to model for my kids what it means to be a hard worker, to love your family, and to get up every day with a purpose. Rick Rigsby tells a story. He did a speech at the Naval Academy in California a long time ago, and he was talking about his dad. And his wife asked him, his dad, one day, why do you get up early every day and go do all this? Because he's leaving way early for work. And he said, I get up with the hope that my kids are going to catch me in the act of excellence. And so that's kind of hung with me, is I want my kids to see me in the act of excellence. So I get up at 4:30 every morning, head to the gym, come back, go straight to my office, do my Bible reading, and then get on with the day. Help push the kids out the door, and then get out and do my thing.
Would you say you're really disciplined with your routine day to day for the most part?
Pretty disciplined. Yeah,
I love that.
My workouts are 5 or 6 days a week usually, and then my Bible reading is just about every day. and now trying to take that and then create it into a discipleship relationship. So I just went through with my spiritual mentor, learning what it means to be a disciple maker. So now I'm taking that and I'm going to start entering into some discipleship relationships with other folks and teaching them, share with them what I've learned so that they can go out and be disciple makers as well.
And what's the kind of the secret there when you define a disciple maker? I agree too. I think the most important thing is creating good men in general. So what's kind of that?
Relationship. I went in there when I first started. I'm a big apologetics guy. So I was like, I can tell you the Bible inside and out. I can tell you the history of what's going on. Like I studied all that stuff. That has nothing to do with it. It's all about relationship and then just sharing your testimony.
Relationship with yourself or with God or with other people? Or
yes.
Just
all of that combined.
Okay.
It's understanding you better, understanding his plan for you, and then sharing your testimony with others as you go out and just get to know them, right? Whatever struggles they're going through, helping them through it, pray with them, and then pointing them back to the Lord. I think that's a big thing. I've used it with, we have a Bible study called Holy Smokes.
Nice.
We'd meet every other Thursday, a bunch of guys, guys from the gym, guys from the industry, guys we've met at the gas station. I met a guy at the tire shop. He's going to come hang out with us.
Nice.
But everyone just come hang out. You want to smoke cigars, we'll smoke cigars and talk about the scripture and whatever's in there for it for that day.
Nice.
But I think it's really kind of cool in this industry. You're seeing, or at least from my perception, and I've talked with some other people, you're seeing a transformation where there's a lot more people that are bold about their faith in the industry today than probably 10 years ago.
How do you think that is?
I hope it's a revival. There's opinions that there's a revival happening in the country, and I hope that it's just reflective of the industry. I think you have a lot more, how do I say it the right way? You've got a lot of folks that are going to start leaning more on something other than themselves and understanding there's a lot more that goes into success than just look what I did, right?
Yeah.
And when there's 8,700 contractors in Houston, there's a lot of myselfs, right? So there's got to be something else driving you and pushing you in that way.
I love that. So for any young aspiring entrepreneur, anyone getting into sales, what are 3 tips, whether it's business, life, spiritual, what would you kind of encourage them to do?
Number 1 is find your why. Okay. There's going to be a flash in the pan when you first get started, right? You're excited. Everything you do the first time is a record. It's the new. If you don't have a good why established, it's going to fade, and you're going to be like I did in my first several years of my career. That's going to burn out, and then you look for the next challenge. So establish that why, and it's got to be deeper than just monetary or goals, or I want to do this amount of whatever. Find a why. And then surround yourself with good people. I started out when I was building my teams, I wanted a bunch of people like me. And that's a horrible idea because a bunch of me's is a nuisance.
Good point.
Surround your people that are going to strengthen your weaknesses. So then, the rising tide lifts all ships. Surround yourself with folks that are going to bring up your business and support you where you're weak so you can go be strong where you're really strong. And then I really think that having an important relationship with the Lord is what's going to guide you and drive you. And whenever you're at that crossroad where you got to make a decision, you know who to go to in prayer, and you can point to the scripture and say, okay, what should I do here? And I think that guidance has helped me, and it's protected me a lot along the way. And he's had to humble me a couple times. And I heard him loud and clear. But I think ultimately he always shows his face through adversity.
I love that, man. God is good.
God is great, man.
My man, appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate it, dude.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.